The following is a presentation of the Matt Talk Podcast Network.
The mind of Pat Popolizio is a wondrous thing. And for you Pac Wrestling fans, you'll get to go inside the mind of the Skip each and every episode here on the Pac Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Now, here's your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Brian Reinhardt.
Matt Madness is in full swing, and the 20 Pennsylvania are right around the corner. We get into our full NCAA preview, and also we're going to recap the Wolfpack's 16th ACC championship in this brand new episode of the Pac Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. I'm your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Brian Reinhardt, and I'm joined by the head coach of the Wolfpack, Pat Popolizio.
Brian, good to have you back today.
Pat, some great behind the scenes here. You were really fired up before we started.
Yeah,
taping.
you got to
really
start talking about some things, and it's good.
It was great.
Good energy this week.
I like when I can get you fired up.
Yep, don't worry. I got some things for you today.
But Pat, very busy time of year, but this is the best time of year. We're just going to get right into this. A couple weeks ago, NC State went back up to Blacksburg and once again came back with the team trophy. 3 individual ACC champions, 6 ACC finalists, and all 10 NC State wrestlers either met or exceeded their seedings, and that helped the Wolfpack claim the 2019 ACC championship. NC State second the last 4 seasons. And Pat, I know you weren't on the bus, so you wouldn't know this, but we brought back home the team trophy on the bus. And when you bring that team trophy back, it's a great feeling. What were your thoughts on that weekend?
I like these little jabs you got going here today, so it's good.
Well, no okay. But second trip up to Blacksburg, second time you did not come back with us.
Trust me, I'd rather get on that bus and lay down and take a nap. Like you know, I don't know. Every time I turn around, you're sleeping on the bus.
We were all working on that trip back. You missed it.
I'm sure. So. Yeah, no, it's a great feeling, coming in there in that environment, and that tournament is obviously always such a tight team race, depending on individuals and whatnot too. Competing to win an ACC title now is it's not easy to do, and our guys, showed up, wrestled extremely hard, and thought for the most part across the board everybody wrestled pretty well. We had some losses that we were able to reverse into wins through the regular season, and that ultimately was a big impact on the team scoring. So, yeah, it was a good feeling.
You kind of mentioned it, and we've mentioned this numerous times, but the ACC championship is a great example of scoring extra points with bonus point wins. NC State had 22 wins at the ACCs. 7 of your 10 guys combined for 9 bonus point wins. Almost half of the NC State wins went for bonus points. And just like the ACCs, not only do you need wins at NCAAs, but bonus points really help in the team race. How big were those bonus point wins?
They're huge. They're huge at the national tournament, and that was something a year ago we weren't able to do at the ACC tournament. We focused a lot about it, talked a lot about it, focused on what we could do this year. And guys capitalized on it, and I think that does add extra points to the team race. And I know other teams were doing the same thing. Any chance you get to score those extra points, you got to take advantage of it. And our guys were able to do that this past year.
We have to touch base on all of your individual ACC champions. Second straight year, the Wolfpack had 3 individual champions. The first time since 2006 and 2007 that NC State has had that many in back-to-back years. And we'll start at 141. It was his first ACC championship, but redshirt senior Jamel Morris kept things rolling and took first place. He built a huge lead, survived a couple of late takedowns in the semifinal against Duke. Then he really controlled that final bout against Moore of Virginia Tech for the win, and huge accomplishment for Jamel. We talked about him being inserted in that lineup, but how great was it to see him end his ACC career with that title?
I think it's a great success story for any individual that, you want to hold out on hope for your opportunity in a program, and this is a perfect example of a guy that sat 4.5 years, started a little bit here and there, but then had his first postseason opportunity and took full advantage of it. And I thought it was a phenomenal story for him, and not an easy place to go. 2 weeks in a row, wrestle a really good opponent in a tough environment, and hold on. Wasn't fatigued. I think it was a little bit of mental fatigue there in those matches because we know he's in shape, and I think the pressure's off him now, and now it's time to go out, relax, and perform. And I think sometimes these guys, they want to win so bad that it could slow him down a little bit. And I think that's what we saw last weekend, and he was still able to overcome two of those wins. And actually, I thought wrestled pretty well outside of stopping a little bit too soon in some of his matches, and that's something we've been working on.
Repeating as ACC champion at 157 pounds was Hayden Hidley. Hayden didn't waste any time in the semifinal bout, scoring a 17-0 tech fall win. Then he took out number 11 Romani of Pitt in the finals, 8-2. Hayden did not give up a takedown at the ACCs, and he really controlled those two matches.
Yeah, and he's been looking really good, and I think goes back to timing of everything that we've been trying to execute with him. You know, he's wrestled basically a year straight through, and you know, when you're training in a certain way, there's times when you can really push hard, and other times you got to back off. And he's one of those guys. I think once you time it right with him, he can wrestle as good as anybody in the country, and that's what you're seeing right now. And extremely focused, and I think good things in the works for him this coming week.
And your third title came up at 197. Another redshirt senior in Malik McDonald went out a winner in his final trip to ACCs. He entered as a 3 seed, won his first round matchup. Then he defeated a pair of top 11 wrestlers, including number 7 Ayala of Virginia, 13-6 in the finals. And not only did Malik win that ACC title, but he avenged a pair of regular season losses to those top 11 foes.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal outcome for a guy that wasn't starting for the team last year at the postseason and took full advantage of his opportunity. And I think you look at his improvements he's made from the start of the year to the middle of the year to where he's at now, and he looks extremely dominant. It's been some of the best wrestling I've seen out of Malik the past 2 weeks, not just in competition but in the practice room. And I'm excited to watch him go out there and finish out his career on a high note, because he can do some serious damage at the NCAA tournament the way he's been wrestling.
But the ACCs, that was last week. This week, it's all about the NCAAs, and kind of an interesting academic schedule this past week as NC State was on spring break. What was the schedule like for the guys? Do you think the guys benefited a little bit from not having classes?
I think, it's good. We go in all these tough environments, and we're working extremely hard, and there's a lot thrown at these guys all year. And then as we get towards the end, it kind of loosens up a little bit, and I personally like that. I think from experiences in the past, we've tried to do some different training environments going the weekend NCAAs, and I think we found something that's been working for us now. And having spring break and keeping things pretty light, I think has helped us, just mentally get focused and relaxed and have really good training the week going into NCAAs, and that's what we've been able to see out of these guys. We've trained hard. We've taken a day off here and there, let everybody's bodies regroup and get close to 100% now, and that's part of it, is timing and peaking at the right time and making sure every guy on our team is mentally and physically ready to wrestle.
Another cold city for the NCAAs, but it's all right. I get to see my mom this year, so that's nice. But we're taping this before you guys leave for Pittsburgh. The team is heading up on Tuesday, and the first round starts Thursday. What is the team schedule like for you guys once everybody is up at the NCAAs?
Well, Brian, funny you asked that. Melissa put together a phenomenal folder right here. So if you want to go down and checklist all this stuff off right here.
I have the itinerary.
All right. So I know, you want me to say, I can read it off for you too.
She didn't print me out.
You didn't get the folder like that.
I like the Skip got the folder.
Yeah, this is professional. She did an
phone.
Awesome job. Okay. I got to compliment her for that. Tomorrow we'll get up here. We'll have breakfast as a team. We'll head to the airport, get on a flight, land, probably grab lunch, buy some time, go work out at the arena, and we can't check into our hotel till about 4 o'clock. So, that first day is a little busy with the travel, getting the workouts in, just kind of getting acclimated. And then Wednesday we'll slow it back down for the guys at least, and kind of not sleep in, but sleep a little later than we probably normally would. Get up, have a good workout, make sure we're eating and everybody's getting what they need, and keep things nice and relaxed. And then Thursday, we wake up. I think we're starting an hour later this year than last year.
Noon start.
Yeah, that's great. So these guys don't have to wake up to crack of dawn at 5 in the morning to start checking their weight and working out. They can actually wake up in a reasonable time and get ready for a very long weekend. And it should be exciting for all these guys to go out there and compete. But yeah, it's the next couple of days are busy with meetings, at least on our end, some different meetings that coaches have and whatnot. And the main focus is just get these guys getting their workouts in and getting everything they need to prepare.
Now, 8 of your 9 guys going to the NCAAs this year have been there before, and that's a great stat. I know for basketball, teams like to get into the visiting arena the day before, first shoot around and get familiar with the court. How is it for wrestling? It's hard to replicate thousands of fans, but do you guys need to roll around on the mats during a practice, or can they just do that anywhere?
I think it's always good to kind of see the arena. At the end of the day, a mat's a mat. And then, we've been fortunate enough to go wrestle in some good environments the last year or two. So I don't think anything changes with that. And some of the dual meets we've been in have been good crowds, whether they're home or on the road, and tough crowds. And that kind of prepares you for that. At the end of the day, not everybody's going to be cheering for just one team there. So you'll probably be wrestling on one mat and you can hear a lot of excitement going on another. And that's the biggest thing, is just blocking all that noise out and staying focused and competing. And those usually happen later in the round. So yeah, be good. I think we're on track and ready for what we've encountered this past year.
The first day of action at the NCAA, guys only have 2 matches. There's one in the morning session and one in the evening. And what's going on behind the scenes during the day for the guys? Where do they relax? How do they just kind of chill out and wait for their match?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we keep telling these guys, worry about yourself, and the team will take care of its part with the team scoring. And that's our biggest thing, is making sure guys, when they're done with their matches, they're off their feet, they're staying relaxed, and they're recovering and resting. Because it's easy to get caught up in this tournament watching every round and different guys, because the way the brackets are never work out 100% to the seeds. So we're all well aware of that. And if you start getting too invested in the tournament, whether it's your weight class or someone else's, it can be negative energy wasted. So we try to keep these guys with the blinders on and just showing up, wrestle 7 minutes hard, cool down, and regroup for that next round. Because it's a long day. For only having 2 matches, it's a very long day.
3 straight days of weigh-ins for guys that advance to the final day. At this time of year in a wrestling calendar, how does that affect the guys?
I think we're, with the discipline that we have going right now with every guy on this team, it's a non-factor. And we've had a lot of back-to-back matches this past year on purpose, whether they were single dual meets or tournaments. We've been doing it throughout the whole year. You can go back and look at our schedule, but a lot of them were one pound allowance the next day. So we did that on purpose, so guys would be ready for all the weigh-ins, and whether they gotta get a little extra workout in after their last match, their legs will be underneath them, and they'll be ready, because you got plenty of time between that night and morning if you need to get a little extra weight off, and that's what makes wrestling a little more unique. You don't just show up, compete, and leave. A lot of times behind the scenes, you don't realize it, but these guys, and not just us at NC State, but it's just the sport. In this tournament, you're going to see guys getting up real early to get an extra workout in to get some weight off, or late at night, just kind of keeping their sweat rolling and being ready to hit the scales in the morning.
Is there a pound allowance at the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, you get one too. One each day.
Dude,
so
I killed it at the gym. I killed it at the gym this week to prepare for this.
Yep, 1 pound. I'll even give you 2 each day, all right?
This was also the first time all 33 guys in each weight class were seeded, 1 to 33, where before the top 16 were seeded, that was a random draw. And selfishly, I'll miss hearing unseeded to All-American, but what did you think of the change in that brackets this year?
I don't know if I'm a fan. I got to see it play out right now. I personally liked seeing some of the better guys thrown in there, like the 13 seed wrestling the 1 seed. I think that makes an exciting tournament. And I think you're going to see a little more bonus points that first round, just because there's going to be a lot of that, whether you're, I don't know. I don't want to overanalyze brackets, but it looks like some guys, whether you're the 33 seed or 31, that probably weren't that. They're probably at a higher level than that, but that's where they got put in the bracket because they didn't wrestle a whole year. So I don't know if it's a true system in play right now. So that's why I kind of like the blind draw outside of certain weights, because then there's no argument. It's just like, hey, that's where you got put on the bracket, and now let's go to work and do what we need to do.
You're missing your bracketologist. Beasley was very much into the brackets.
He is. He would always overanalyze, and yeah, that and the thing is, it never works out that way. So you can sit here all day long. It doesn't matter who you are. It's just the nature of the beast with the NCAA tournament, and it's not like any other sports. There's 10 weights. That's a lot to cover. It's not like you're just one bracket with 33 teams in there. You got 10 different weights, 33 guys. That's a lot to cover.
There's a lot of people in that backstage area too. Wrestlers, coach, trainers. Yeah. It's a lot of chaos behind the scenes when people are going out there for 8 mats in that first day.
It's a ton, and it's high drama. It's one of the craziest, wildest sporting events I think anybody has ever. If they've first time going, you get hooked on it because it's such high intensity and high drama, and it's just action-packed for three days, so it's going to be exciting, and I know people love going to it and watching. We don't really, as coaches, probably don't get to watch too many matches because you're in the back and you can see some things on the screen, but it's like you can hear the crowd and then you can actually see what happened. So it's like 10-second delay.
In the industry, we call them pops. You hear a pop from the crowd.
Okay, that's all right. Good to know.
Let's take a deep dive into the brackets. 9 NC State wrestlers, 3 received top 10 seeds, and 8 were seeded 16th or better, but seeds don't matter at this point. Let's talk all about your guys. At 125, 4-time NCAA qualifier, Sean Fowles. He drew the 15th seed. Sean is actually the 16th wrestler in NC State history to be a 4-time qualifier, 3rd under yourself. Sean has won at least 1 match every previous trip and is 1 win away from All-American honors in 2017. This is his last go-around. How motivated is he to end his career on the podium?
Extremely. I think he's one of those guys that was right there the last 2 years, and last year it was a very unfortunate outing for him getting that injury. So I think, that left a little chip on his shoulder, and he's one of those guys that's done everything he needs to do to accomplish his goals, and I don't care where you put him on that bracket, he's going to come out fighting, and he's as good as anybody in that weight class. So let's get out there and let's scrap, and I'm excited to see him finish out his career where he belongs at the top of the podium.
Up at 133, returning All-American Tariq Wilson is the 11th seed, and it was great to see Tariq back in form as he made the NCAA finals, and I'm sure he probably would have been seeded higher if he didn't miss 6 weeks of action this year, but he was an unknown, unseeded guy last year, but everybody knows his name now. What is Tariq's mindset going into Pittsburgh?
Yeah, hopefully he's one of those as well. He's got a chip on his shoulder because of the seed where he's at. Again, it doesn't mean anything, but that just tells you what people think, and I just told the team at the end of the day, if we place what these seeds are as individuals, it's a very disappointing tournament. And that's the attitude that Tariq's got to have because, again, he's like Sean. He's as good as anybody in the country at any given time. And fortunate enough now he's 100% healthy. And, that's probably why he's where he's at in the seed is because he wasn't able to wrestle the last month of the season. But I'd rather take a healthy Tariq into that tournament and throw him wherever you want in that bracket. And I feel bad for, maybe a guy that earned a higher seed because he's a dangerous guy to wrestle. And he's shown that he can show up at this tournament and compete.
2019 ACC champion Jamel Morris is making his first trip to the NCAA championships here in his final season. We've talked about Jamel's journey on a lot of recent podcasts. He sits at number 14 at 141, and he faces a returning All-American in ODU's Perry in the first round. Last chance for Jamel to be in an NC State singlet. He's got to be very excited leading up to this.
Yeah, and I think this is all bonus for him. If you go back to the beginning of the year, no one thought he'd be an ACC champ and wrestling for us at the national tournament with whatever record he has, 26-3, something like that. You would know better.
Ignored you.
Yeah, you're a stat guy.
Because I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
that's a great stat.
I think it's those are dangerous guys to wrestle when you're at nationals that have nothing to lose and they're talented and have big wins and shown that they can compete. And he's in tournaments has always wrestled very well. So I'm excited to see him. And, he should go out with that attitude. Everything from here is extra. And those are fun guys to go see. And if he opens up and wrestles, he can beat anybody in that weight class.
Grad transfer Justin Oliver. He's another 4-time NCAA qualifier. His first at NC State. He's the number 9 seed at 149, and it just so happens that's the 3rd time in his career he's been seeded 9th. But Justin adds a whole lot of NCAA experience to your lineup. His previous 3 trips, he has 16 career matches. He came to NC State looking to get back up on that podium. He was an All-American in 2016. How motivated is he for that feat here in his final season?
Yeah, it's same kind of mentality I think some of these other guys have in our program, that little chip on their shoulder to prove, that there's the best guy in the country. And I think that's Justin's mentality right now is I want to go out on top. And that's what he set out to do. His journey's been, it hasn't been an easy journey. I would imagine when you do transfer like that and you kind of take that leap of faith, you want to end it on a positive note, and he's done everything he possibly can to put himself in position now. It's, I think, the best I've seen him in the practice room, and not just wrestling wise, but I think health, and I think conditioning, and his mental state is relaxed. I think he's one of those guys. His experiences are going to shine at this NCAA tournament, and that's what you look for, is a guy that placed once before, kind of had a letdown the last couple of years, and now it's time to go out, and he knows what he needs to do to accomplish his goals this weekend.
In NCAA finals last season, Hayden Hiley's the number 5 seed at 157. A lot of national attention, thinking his seed was a little low, and as he enters 20-2, having won 15 in a row in that ACC title. But Hayden just wants to wrestle. He doesn't matter what seed he is. He seems to be peaking right now this time of year.
Yeah, man, it's we talk about it all the time. You want to win a national title, you got to beat somebody good, and I think that's where we all know where he stands there. He's going to have good guys. As a 5 seed, you're going to see good guys, and Hayden's as good as anybody in the country I've seen at any weight. He's shown that with his international experience, his NCAA experience, and it's time to go out and be confident, go out and put it on the line, and go out and win the national title. And it's a tall order when you got defending national champs, but that's what we work for. That's what he trains for. And I can tell you, he's done everything he needs to do physically and mentally to put himself in position to go win this coming weekend. And I'm looking forward to him out there competing, and his leadership is going to help tremendously with our program.
Another great run of the ACC's redshirt sophomore Thomas Bullard is the number 16 seed at 165. And just like Sean, he has a regular season rematch to start off with. But Thomas reached the ACC finals, and he seems to be another wrestler that right now is probably wrestling the best he has this year.
Yeah, and that goes back to his aggression on there when he is competing. He's attacking. His conditioning looks good, and he's finally being relentless on top, which is showing, that it takes some life out of guys at times, and it opens up a little more when we get back on our feet. And I think that's what you've seen with Thomas. And he's going to be one of those guys that's going to be dangerous to wrestle at the NCAA tournament, because he can get on a roll, and his style is really good for wrestling, 4 to 5 matches in a weekend. They have that tough style that you need to be able to wake up, and whether you're a little banged up or not, you can get back up in there and battle and find ways to win.
His brother, Daniel Bullard's at number 23 at 174, and he's going to the NCAAs for the second straight year. And his tech fall last year scored some big points for you. And he has a rematch with Nebraska in the first round. I know he has a bit of revenge on his mind for that first match.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, the progress we've made. And a lot of times it's it's about is you get an opportunity to wrestle somebody in the beginning of the year, and what adjustments have you made? And what are you going to do to win? And he's got to cover some ground. That match was a little ugly in the dual meet, and I hope he takes offense to it and takes it personal and shows up and is ready to compete this time. And we've seen him flip that switch and go out there and take advantage of having second match. I think he did it against the Pitt kid at ACCs, where he had a loss in the dual meet, and flipped that around a little bit and just wrestled harder and more aggressive. And he knows that's what he's going to have to do, because that's a good, tough first round match, but it's one, if we show up and we compete, we can put ourselves in the driver's seat.
And up at 184, Nick Reenan returns to the NCAAs after a redshirt season, and he's the number 7 seed. A heck of a first-round matchup with Gear of Oklahoma State, and I have no idea how he got that low of a seed. But Nick came back strong for 30 the ACCs, a tech fall, and then he defeated a returning All-American. That kind of scoring is what you need out of Reenan here for the NCAA tournament, for him to advance through his bracket.
Yeah, aggressive wrestling is what puts Nick at his best, and he showed that, in some of his matches at the ACC. Last couple ones, he started opening up and really putting some points up, and that's when he's wrestling his best. And as long as we're ready, first round, ready to compete hard, and be ready for a little bit of a war that first round match, we'll be fine. And that's something Nick's got to know going out there. He's had a really good week of training, and I think it helped a lot having 4 matches at the ACC tournament, because it's something we haven't had all year, is those 4 matches in one day. So if you look at it, that's only 2 a day he's got to worry about right now, and he did that 10 days ago, where he was wrestling 4 matches in one day. So looking for some big things out of Nick this coming weekend.
And wrapping up the Pac-9 at the NCAAs is another ACC champion, Malik McDonald. We talked about his journey to the ACC title. Here at the NCAAs, he's going to be the 13th seed at 197 in a rematch with Adams of West Virginia in that first round. And Malik said post-ACCs, he wants NC State to repeat with the national title at 197 following Mock last year. What must he do to accomplish that?
He's got to keep wrestling like he did. And the way that he's been in the practice room has been phenomenal. He's got some really good guys to train with here. And I've been watching guys train for NCAAs for a while now, and he's as ready and as focused as anybody I've ever seen. And that's what I like about this. No guarantees in anybody in any given weight, but I can promise you he's putting himself in position right now to have a very successful tournament and going out there and competing. And if he wrestles as hard as he has in practice this past week, he's going to be a very difficult kid to beat. And that's what I've seen out of him. His effort level has gone up tremendously, and I truly believe he's peaking at his best than ever in his career right now, and no better time.
Pat, this is going to be a very busy weekend, but a great weekend of action at the 2019 NCAA Championships up in Pittsburgh. ESPN is going to stream every match on every mat, and all 6 sessions will be televised live on ESPN. Lots of eyes on the sport this weekend. I know you always look excited to this tournament.
Yeah, this is what it's about. You know, you train it for a whole year, some guys for a lifetime, you know, and we got some guys now that are going to have their last tournament here in NC State singlet. So sending those guys out on top and on a positive note, that's our goal, and everybody showing up and competing as hard as we possibly can. So that's what it's about this coming weekend.
And, of course, we are going to be there live with coverage on all of our social media channels. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at PackWrestle for mad assignments and live scoring. Pat, good luck to everybody up there this weekend. All the Wolfpack fans that follow your program are hoping for some great results as in years past.
Appreciate it. Looking forward to everybody coming out there and supporting us. And if I need you, I know where to find you in the hospitality room.
I tell you what, we'll be there for 14 hours a day in that arena, so you know where to find me.
Yep, you'll be snacking.
But I want to thank everybody for listening today. This is your Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast covering all things NC State wrestling. Until next time, Wolfpack wrestling fans, go Pack.
The Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast is produced by the Mat Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, go to